quite frankly, I don't know what will. Ashton himself has no idea what to do when he lies and dwindles awkwardly in the middle of the car, unsure. It almost seems like he is having an internal debate whether he should say goodbye or mutter another apology. I could have driven him away purely out of spite the second I've gotten off. Still, all habits die hard. It's late and Ashton's flat is on the other side of the city. Irritation might rear its head every time I look at him right now, but I'm not too cruel to put him up on another long drive, especially when he still appears as if he hasn't gotten anything yet.
You can borrow the couch.
I throw the keys to my flat his way before a protest forms on his lips. Although he catches it with ease, he eyes it with a wary expression and shoots a puzzled glance my way.
You haven't been forgiven. We're still going to have that talk, believe me. But I'm not about to send you out on another drive looking like that. It's late. Go get some rest.
We're setting aside a lot of loose ends like this, but he appears to have accepted that reason, at least in the meantime. He does give me another questioning glance when I shove past him, pulling my mobile phone in the process.
Where are you going? I thought...
You go ahead upstairs. I need to contact Professor Andrew.
Andrew? Why would you... Oh, no. Please. Is this that thing Isabella said this morning? Again? I already gave her my word, Becca. I'll look into this BRC crap. No need to drag the old guy into it.
Of course, he's still skeptical. It makes one wonder why he's even seen any at all. Figures this curse will stay away from the scoffer. But this is another loose end tonight that I can't just leave alone. Ashton's belief notwithstanding. It just so happens that it's one that I delve into using myself. Using means other than taking a look at the mansion itself.
Ashton, do you really think I still give a shite after that stunt you pulled tonight?
No, but this is...
I've spent so many years with him to know this is about to turn into another argument. Before he can finish it, I cut him off with a firm raise of my hand.
Look, I don't care. There are weird things happening around here. And yes, it's Isabella's brand of weird. Ghostly voices, strange sounds, and a bloody woman sitting at the back of my car. You don't have to believe me. And I no longer have the patience to convince you, so just leave me be, Ashton.
He doesn't push it, growing quiet instead, although he does. I know he has a whole case of it prepared inside his head. But there's a reluctant shift in his movement when he steps away from our conversation. Short of climbing the stairs, he stops to turn to face me with an expression almost too conflicted.
Are you really sure?
What?
That there was something? That you've been, seeing things?
Yes, I'm very, very certain. Now go. And you better not break anything in there. The last time I let you stay over, it was that statuette Belle gave me. You haven't even replaced that one.
The last of my reprimand goes unheard and unanswered as he disappears behind the stairs. If things aren't as strained, he might have give a quip or two about that, followed by a light banter. Instead, for a long moment, I'm left staring at him. There's something in the way he asked it that nags, coupled with his expression. The whole exchange just feels unsettling. On the phone, on that fade as I gather my thoughts and shift my focus on another. Even as I dial Professor Andrew's number, and that is when it clicks. During a long wait, the professor, one stray thought emerges from the unease. Ashton may have not intended it for his question to be a jibe. It's concern. For what though? For my well-being? The letter's curse? The woman I mentioned? The answer for those will have to wait, however. Finally the call connects, and Professor Andrews' voice from the receiver echoes from the receiver.
Professor Andrew?
Rebecca? It's late. What can I do for you?
I know, I'm sorry, but this is a bit urgent.
After all, this is a more pressing matter. Our lives may be at stake, and we're still in the dark.
Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you to do me a favor.
Damn this shit. Professor Andrew Clark has agreed to meet me 2 days later in front of Luxbourne's public library. He has other commitments, but being a longtime family friend has its perk. I have my parents' connections to thank for that. Of course, I'm not the one who I'm not the sort to oppose on him often, but the situation is, well, it's not entirely bad, although it does require calling in a few favors from friends like him. Without his signature, I won't be able to gain access to the library's restricted section. If I want to get more in-depth information on the Amber Garden Mansion, that is, not simply where I choose to the general public. As much as I hate to admit it, there's always something people censor, and whatever it is, I won't ever find it in the general section. It has to be whatever they're keeping it behind the public eye. The thought of that alone makes me antsy. Thankfully, I don't have to brood over it. The wait of the professor doesn't last long. He never did enjoy making people wait. Likewise, he dislikes people who are tardy. He arrives 5 minutes after I do, greeting me with that kind smile and casual wave of his head. I haven't seen him in so long, but it appears he hasn't changed much. His familiar presence alone is enough for me for a fond smile to spread across my face.
Professor Andrew.
Rebecca, didn't I say long ago you can drop the professor?
You know I can't possibly do that. Even if I can, it feels disrespectful to call you by your name alone.
Both you and Ashton never listen to this old man. Kids these days.
All right, but just for today, since you're doing me a huge favor, Andrew.
I guess you simply can't have it all, even at this old age. But pleasantries aren't what we're here for, yes? You mentioned you needed a permit.
Yes, sir, if that's okay with you.
More than fine. Anything in pursuit of knowledge, as they say.
He hands me the permit without further prompting. And just like he promised, he also written a recommendation after his suggestion. This is more than enough to get me those files. I mutter a small thanks before slipping it into my pocket. Although when I look back up, his brows are furrowed. The very face of curiosity. Not surprising considering how vague it has been. Not surprising considering how vague I've been through our little talk on the over the phone. Right then and there, I've decided to tell him if he ever asks, maybe not all of it, but stuff he needs to know. It's the least I can do to thank him. As expected, true to his inquisitive nature, he asks,
If you don't mind, though, I know you've always been an eager learner, but may I know what in the restricted section that piqued your curiosity?
It's the Amengard mansion, sir.
he's quick to raise an eyebrow at that. He's quick to raise an eyebrow at that, and for a while, I fear he'll take the slip of paper back. Is there something I
The ones
said?
they have out in the general isn't enough?
I'm, hoping for a more in-depth read, sir. More about the history and the people who once lived there. The general section doesn't have anything much on that.
Oh, I see. Well, you certainly aren't the first one to be enamored with that place. It doesn't shock me. The architecture is admirable, and the urban legends are something to talk about.
I think enamored might be a little too much to describe our interest in it. But I have to agree. The mansion is beautiful, even with the renovations. They kept the stained glass windows, too. They are magnificent.
Oh, you've seen it.
I was there for a few hours to attend a housewarming party. The invitation was for my parents, but they couldn't make it. My mum used to work as a private tutor for the Evans. Hannah Wright?
Ah, I know of her. Her husband, too. Who doesn't? Luxborn's most popular couple.
Something falls behind his ears. The warmth in them suddenly gone. Like he's reliving a painful, distant memory and seeing it play right in front of him. It disappears almost as soon as it surfaces, though that is unsettled. Though that look has unsettled something in me.
Is something the matter?
Nothing much. But you know, you're already like a daughter to me. So if you could, do be careful with the friends you make.
Is this about the rights, sir?
Just a friendly advice from an old man. Don't think much about it. Anyway, I have to leave now. Can't miss my weekly serving of bear claws.
Okay.
Say hi to your parents at the detective inspector for me, will you? I wish you luck with all that research.
I will. Thanks for this, Andrew.
Andrew gives my shoulder a tight squeeze. The gesture a younger me has always appreciated. And quickly across the street after, I watch him until he disappears behind a door to the cafe, until the doubts swimming inside my head finds a moment to rest. Whatever his business is with the rights isn't another thing I should concern myself about. But somehow, in the grand scheme of things, all of it feels oddly relevant, my bad. I cannot speak. Then how though, I've yet to find out. I'm hoping the library will give me the answers I want this time. On the gloomy Sunday morning, the morning library is especially empty. The second floor in particular. I've always considered this place to be a sanctuary and respite away from the hubbub of the city. As a child, I grew up reading books here, spending hours here to no end, poring over the pages, living out fantasies in my head until my parents called me home. Yeah, I love reading too. Now it feels nothing like it. The silence is smothering, suffocating. Even with how clean they keep the microfiche room, how the entire small of it lacks an entire speck of dust or clutter. Breathing is a struggle for air. Not far into my stay, I began to long for the noise outside, and perhaps as a way to calm this unease, start to hum a tune. And I imagine that of all the things it has been, why of all things it has to be a silly nursery rhyme. I've not an inkling. It does its job, however. It fills the lull with something less awkward, something far less awkward and far less deafening that is soon enough for distraction. I have business here. No time for silly daydreams, only important work to attend to. Even if there's a possibility of it being fruitless by some means, it feels like I have to do it. If not for me, then those people who have been affected by this, what do we even call this? A haunting? A Halloween prank gone wrong? A curse? If Isabella were here, what would she say? Would she panic? Would she be angry if I listened to her now? It all stems from that one moment in the movie house, doesn't it? We could have avoided this had we only taken her warnings to heart. One simple mistake is all it took to send our normal lives to a downward spiral. Frankly, I'm no longer sure if I'm angry at myself for it or at the universe for throwing us into this mess. But we can only make do of what we little have. And exactly what I'm doing. Going here might not be the right decision, but it's a start.
A good start.
It doesn't make much time for me to find what I need. A microfiche of old newspapers, long kept in special storage cabinets at the far end of the restricted section. The year is 6020s and beyond. Before the city of Luxmore even exists in the records, when the mansion has been built in Anselm is nothing more but a small, sleepy hamlet near a river. A lot of pieces are missing, days, sometimes even consecutive weeks, without any records remaining. Often it goes on for years. Troublesome, but as it is, I'm lucky enough to find anything at all, considering how far I'm looking back. Can't be picky now. Can't waste any time mulling over what record keepers of the old could have done to make this a breeze for me.
I can still work with this.
The faint whir of the microfiche machine keeps me company as I go for each slide, each image, hoping for something that goes beyond what the local lore knows. There are snippets, little mentions of the family that once settled in the house here and there. The usual singing praises for the couple who helped brought up what the tiniest settlement into a buzzing town. Nothing known, nothing substantial, nothing I didn't know before. It continues on like this for a good while until I come by the years after their deaths. Oh my God, not now. The people of Aslam might have loved Lord William and Lady Isabel Ambergardens. Hold on, no. Mourning their passing and held them in a high esteem in the years after. Jesus Christ. But it was their daughter that was remembered fondly by the town people. Their parents soon built this town, Lady Charlotte. Can I skip this? I really don't want to read all of this. Remarkable. No, sorry, I gotta, hold on, I'll be right back. Yeah,
So, why is there a need to hide this?
I have no idea. One by one, I try to recall every lesson I've gone through, every book and paper and journal I've read. None of those ever mentioned this. It's always been the Lord. No, if you want to read this, you can pause the video.
That pisses me off.
I really don't want to read this all night. I'm just gonna read to myself. I wish,
This isn't going anywhere. I should have asked for someone's help. This is a library, for heaven's sake.
A chilly brush of air behind my back. Brief enough for something sickening to suddenly lodge itself in my throat while I take in my surroundings. It's that suffocating sensation again, creeping to every part of me, crawling under my skin, draining me by little of any strength. From that day in the mansion, from that brief moment at the school, without delay, I grab my papers and make a quick beeline for the door. Oh shit! My whole body froze.
What are you doing, Miss Pink?
I hold my breath, not daring to make any noise. For a while, the sounds of paper crumbling under my grasp fills the room. With the excitement from earlier has gone instantly, replaced by a cold, sweeping dread spreading throughout my limbs. But more than the fear is the anger. It pains me to hear her using my own student's voice against me. And more than that, and more than once, I believe it was really her. She has no right.
Why don't you play with me?
No, get away from me. No. Although she hasn't made a move. If there isn't a wall behind me, I'll probably take a step back. Anything to put distance between us, no matter how small, as long as I'm out of her reach. But I steel myself, because if I do fall back, turn away from her, I'll be left with no way out. I'm not dying here.
You think you scare me?
Miss Pink, don't be so rude. I'm waiting.
I'm not afraid of you, you spook. This is one Scotswoman. You aren't getting into an early grave without a fight. Come at me.
Why would you say that? I expect that she'll lunge to prove. I expect that she'll lunge to prove me what monster she is. Instead, she gives me a smile, twisted and gnarled. It's as if time has crawled to a stop at the sight of it. A split-second decision, and before I know it, my body shifts, closing in anticipation. Hand gripping whatever solid enough on the nearby table, hurling at it. I don't bother looking if whatever I threw it. I don't bother looking if whatever I threw hit its mark. I run as fast as my legs can carry me, despite my heart threatening to burst out of my chest. In this maze of bookshelves, with the whole place almost void of people. Head for the door and head upstairs. Shit, hold on. I really don't want to get her killed, so I'm just gonna go ahead and save it. There's someone out of this room. I hope I didn't get her killed. My back hits the floor. Oh shit! The next thing I know.
Let me go.
Get the fuck off me! I don't think twice. My limbs are now moving. Bitch.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
All right, Ashton. All right. So I'm probably gonna call it a night because yeah, this has been a doozy. Sorry if I didn't feel like reading. I just got a phone call. But yeah, I'll see if I can upload these by Sunday, if not Monday. So yeah, that being said, have a wonderful day. In the meantime, I'm out.